Good Wednesday evening. It is June 21st, 2017, and this is an update on Tropical Storm Cindy. As you can tell, is already barreling its way towards our region and is expected to make landfall on the Texas-Louisiana border on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico sometime tonight and early tomorrow morning. After that, it will begin to weaken as it moves somewhere in or just around this forecast cone that was made by the National Hurricane Center out of Miami, Florida. And if this low pressure center tracks so through Memphis, Tennessee, we can expect rainfall totals to be mainly centered somewhere around northwest Tennessee and south central Kentucky. If it tracks a little bit further north into northwest Tennessee, we can see that heaviest rainfall totals from this event coming through western Kentucky, extreme west Kentucky, the Boot Hill of Missouri, extreme southern Illinois, and maybe parts of southern Indiana. If we see the track go further south in this forecast cone through parts of northern Mississippi and northern Alabama, then we could be looking at the heaviest rainfall totals mainly going through the middle Tennessee and the southwestern Tennessee area. So all things and all odds are at play right now. We still have a lot of questions that remain depending on where this area of low pressure tracks is depending on who sees the heaviest rainfall totals. Right now, it looks like whoever falls right under that area of low pressure or just to the northwest of it will see the heaviest rainfall totals, really anywhere between 4 to 6 inches of rain. Localized 1 to 3 inches of rain looks likely for just about all of our counties in the purchase area of western Kentucky. You can tell all of this moisture streaming northward. All of this is rain that you see right here on radar, where you see these green, yellow, blue, even red boxes, is all indicating severe weather concerns, and that's another thing that we have to watch out for with this system is not only the flooding rains that we could be seeing, but also the severe weather associated with it. Oftentimes with tropical systems, we have a lot of low-level shear, and that can sometimes produce very short-lived tornadoes that are usually hard to warn on and don't usually have a tornado warning associated with them. QLCS tornadoes, very short-lived. We get a lot of those in our region, so we're used to this, but it's coming from a different perspective. Instead of a line of thunderstorms or supercells, we're looking at an actual tropical system, and many of you won't be thinking of tornadoes or damaging winds, but rather heavy rain. So make sure that you are aware that we have a lot of factors and a lot of things in the atmosphere that are really at play over the next 48 to 72 hours. So make sure that you are aware of that as we go into the Thursday into Friday time frame. Let's go ahead and look at that satellite imagery right now. A very beautiful display that Mother Nature has put on for us this evening and throughout the day today, where you see this very sharp cutoff of the line of clouds moving through parts of the middle United States. That is the very northern fringe of that boundary of clouds and that boundary of moisture associated with Tropical Storm Cindy, and that is already moving into St. Louis and Indianapolis as of this recording late in the evening. Let me go ahead and move this screen over just a little bit so you can see a little bit more. But as you can tell, a very large area being impacted by this system. It's not really focusing on that specific track exactly. Just about anybody around that area of low pressure is going to see some heavy rainfall totals, but we're trying to figure out where we can pinpoint those highest localized totals by county by county. So we're going to make sure and try and see the best we can do, but I really do think that I'm trying to give my best thoughts out into parts of western Kentucky, western Tennessee are going to be very highly impacted by this system. As of right now, the track looks to be going through that area and could possibly be putting down some heavy rainfall totals for those areas, and it's all coming in a short amount of time. So make sure that you know those alternate routes because this will be hitting on Thursday and Friday. Friday especially is the day that we need to watch out for. Many of you still have to go to work, and so if there is a certain way that you get to work and that goes through low-lying or flood-prone areas, make sure that you know those alternate routes so that way you can get to work in a safe manner. You're putting those emergency management people at risk when you're putting yourself at risk also. It's not worth it. So make sure and turn around and don't drown. Make sure that you keep those young drivers up to date, that they need to be turning around and not drowning as well. And make sure that you are letting your kids know to stay out of the water because we could be looking at some heavy rainfall totals in some locations that we haven't seen in a while. So make sure that they are aware that there is stuff under the water and that could very well take them underneath with it. So a lot of things that are really at play throughout the next couple of days, but just this large swath of clouds and precipitation associated with it is absolutely amazing. We have clouds going all the way out into the northern Atlantic that are associated with Tropical Storm Cindy. And not only do we have Tropical Storm Cindy impacting our area, but a cold front, which is where you see these clouds appear and these thunderstorms blowing up in the eastern Colorado, western Kansas, panhandle of Oklahoma, and Texas area, is all associated with a cold front that will be interacting with our region as it comes into our region with Tropical Storm Cindy. We just happen to be unlucky about the timing because Tropical Storm Cindy and that cold front will be merging into our region at the exact same time. We have moisture from the cold front, moisture from the tropical storm, that is all coming together at the exact moment in our region out of all places in the United States, and will be really enhancing those rainfall totals, enhancing our PWAT values, which I will show you here in just a second, enhancing those dew points in the atmosphere, which is enhancing the moisture content. So we have a lot of juice for these thunderstorms to work with and a lot of energy for them to work with as well. So nothing is really at odd or at play when it comes to trying to weaken the rainfall amounts in our region. We have a lot of things, a lot of factors that are really pushing against that possible scenario of weaker rainfall totals in our region. Let's go ahead and look at the Futurecast radar from what model I think is doing the best and handling the best with this event so far. As we go into tomorrow morning, on Thursday morning, just as early as sunrise, we have a chance of seeing some spotty showers and rumbles of thunder moving into the purchase area of western Kentucky. They will be moving from south to north or from southwest to northeast, and they could be packing a punch at times. Some gusty winds are going to be the main factor, and as well heavy rain. As we go into the afternoon tomorrow on Thursday, we are expecting a lull, which is basically a break in the atmosphere, and it looks like that is probably going to really juice the atmosphere up even more. We could even be looking at some filtered sunshine during this time frame as well. So if you need any last minute things that you need to get done tomorrow before the heavy rain sets in on Friday, you need to make sure and do that tomorrow afternoon, when we expect the precipitation to be coming to an end after round 1. Round 2 moves in late tomorrow night on Friday morning and late Thursday night, and that is where we expect a band of rain to set up somewhere in western Kentucky, western Tennessee, Boot Hill of Missouri area. Where this band of rain sets up is going to be key to who picks up the heaviest rainfall totals, because we don't have a lot of winds at the top of the atmosphere to be pushing these storms along. So as always, really, as we have to deal with tropical systems, we don't have a lot of shear, because shear usually tears apart tropical systems, and we don't have a lot with this tropical system in particular. So this is going to, in turn, make those thunderstorms very slow to move, and we also have a lot of moisture for those thunderstorms to work with. So when you combine those two factors, you're looking at slow-moving thunderstorms that are packing a punch, and that is what we are dealing with, and these could very well produce localized amounts of 4 to 6 inches in some areas, and this is going to be a dangerous situation. If we look at the radar for possibly 9 a.m. Friday morning, still areas that are getting the rain on late Thursday night and early Friday morning are still getting it even after sunrise on Friday. If we go into the noon hour, we look at that area of low pressure where you see these closed black lines called isobars moving through parts of western Tennessee. That is really right under that area of low pressure at the surface, is where we're looking at those heaviest contours of rainfall amounts to be coming through. And so really just right there, or to the north and northeast or northwest of it, you are going to be looking at those heaviest rainfall totals. It quickly swings out of our area. By Friday afternoon, we could see this precipitation coming to an end as early as 1 to 2 o'clock on Friday, and then we might be looking at a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the rest of the day on Friday. By Friday night and early Saturday morning, a lot of this should be out of the region as that cold front comes into the region and swings through our area. It will be timing perfectly with Tropical Storm Cindy as it moves out. The cold front will be following it, and those two will do what they want to do as they get off into the northeast and mid-Atlantic part of the United States. Meanwhile, our region should remain dry for Friday night into Saturday morning, and hopefully the rest of our weekend will shape up dry as well as some drier air begins to move into the region. If I show you those dew point values, we're looking at those dew points to be on the rise as we go into Thursday morning, as that first round of moisture moves through our area, that first round of activity. And as we look at Thursday night into early Friday morning, when that second round looks to materialize and organize over our region, it looks like we're going to see those dew points continue to stay very increased and very and up there, really, as we look at 70s and even some upper 60s to low to mid 70s as our dew point values, which is very well enough to cause problems when it comes to our moisture values in the atmosphere. PWAT values are going to be very excessive. This is basically showing you how much rain is going to be from top to bottom throughout the atmosphere. So you're looking at every single level in the atmosphere, and this is measuring that moisture. The dew point values, that's just at the surface, but the PWAT values are measuring what's coming from the sky to the ground and affecting society, affecting people. So that is very important because it doesn't really so what matter, because what is coming down and hitting us at the surface is not coming from the surface. It's coming from up high in the atmosphere. So it's sometimes better to look at what's coming from up above us rather than what is right already at our feet, which is what the dew points are measuring. Meanwhile, the PWAT is looking at everything from top to bottom, so this is why I like to look at the PWAT values better. But you notice these contours very far on the grid here on this key. Some of these highest contours are pushing levels close to 3 inches of rain, which is a excessive amount of moisture, and those are going to be values that are going to be in our region during the same time that we're expecting the heaviest rain to be hitting. So 1.5 to 2.5, even 3 inches of rain per hour is not out of the question in some communities, and that is going to be way too much rain to deal with in a short amount of time. And you could very well see that much rain within an hour because these storms will be moving so slow. But those kind of rainfall rates, even in a 10 to 15, 20-minute time span, is enough to deal with already. As we look at our last map to show you, these rainfall totals are going to be excessive as well. So this is basically showing you an overall look. It looks like that heaviest rain, like I already mentioned. As of this recording, the track looks to take a track that would put the heaviest rainfall totals somewhere in northwest Tennessee and extreme southern parts of the Purchase area of western Kentucky. Now, any movement in that area of low pressure, south or north, is going to take that heaviest band of precipitation just to the south or just to the north by a county or two, and can make all the difference in what you pick up in your backyard. We could very well see it shift north into parts of Illinois and Missouri. It could very well shift south into parts of northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. But the closer we draw to this system, the more confidence that we are raising into our forecast and is affecting our forecast. So make sure and keep that in mind, that this is still kind of preliminary. Things could very well change very quickly within the next couple of hours. So any model run, every new model run that comes out is going to be something different, and we have to see what the rest of the models are going to put out for us within the next 24 hours before the really brunt of the system begins to move into our region. Besides the heavy rainfall totals, it looks like gusty winds are going to be a factor as well, especially when that area of low pressure passes right over our region or right to the south of our region on Friday afternoon. Around the noon to 1 p.m. hour looks to be when we're going to be seeing that area of low pressure passing somewhere around our area. Gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour will be possible with that. And besides that, we're also looking at possible microbursts or downbursts that could be associated with this as well. Where the reason that is a possibility is because we have some dry air with an upper level low at the very top levels of the atmosphere, and this could evaporate and cool the air that eventually condenses and cools, and when it comes down, it can come down quick, and it spreads out in all directions once it hits the surface, and that is what we call a microburst. Winds could very well, with a microburst, come up to 70 to 80 miles an hour, and this will be associated with some thunderstorms in areas of lifts. So make sure that you are aware of that possibility as well. Doesn't look like hail is going to be a big possibility, mainly just rain, lightning, gusty winds, and as well, your safety is going to be at risk when it comes to this amount of rain coming in this short amount of time. Make sure that you're updated with flash flood watches and warnings. The National Weather Service in Paducah is considering issuing a flash flood watch for areas of our region. It looks like western Kentucky, western Tennessee, Boot Hill of Missouri look to be a very high confidence potential of seeing a flash flood watch issued sometime within the next 12 to 24 hours when it comes to this system. That is all I have to do for this video right now. Just make sure that you are up and aware of the incoming impacts from Tropical Storm Cindy.